here and go back to the YouTube page to check if we are okay. Everything seems to be starting fine. Yeah, and we're live on YouTube. Russell, is very, very good to see you, man. Honestly, it's every time I think I should talk to Russell again, I always wonder if you, because I don't see you often in, at least in the typical platforms that I use. You know, you've been banned in all of them, in most of them, in the Western ones. But I always think, I wonder if he is gonna make it through another bombing, to another shelling, to a mine eventually, because I know that not only by living in, for the fact that you live in Donetsk, but also that I know that you visit the front line quite often and talk to the troops, and you are a very outspoken person. Your face is in Mirotvorets for quite some time now. I was checking that page the other day. It's still it discusses me. Look, I mean, how can that
Well,
be allowed? Yeah. Okay.
it's always a pleasure to be working with you, my brother, and I appreciate you having me on. Yes, it's true that I have been censored and oppressed on most Western platforms. Twitter in 2016, Facebook 2019, YouTube. I made a video at the beginning of the special operation that went viral, millions of views in one day. The next day, my whole channel, 12 years of work, is deleted and disappeared
I was
without warning.
I was watching that video today. I was watching this American dude. He's descendant from Turkish families. He's quite famous streamer, and he was. I was searching for your name on YouTube to see what was still on, and I saw this guy that was reacting to that video of yours. He reacted like a year ago, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Hassan Nabi. I don't know if you heard of him or not.
I think I might have seen that video. And like, is that the one that's like 20 minutes long or something? And at first he's like, he's talking a lot of shit. And then he
Yeah,
sees the video from Vice.
yeah, yeah,
He's like,
yeah,
hey, this guy's all right.
yeah, yeah. True, exactly. Yeah,
Uh
that
huh.
one, that one. Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a good lesson to learn from that video, is that, you know, idiots make their opinions off first reactions off of a few seconds or a couple of minutes,
True.
and intelligent people, they do a little bit more digging into the background and then they understand, and there's a lesson there for people, I mean, a lot of people, they think that, I mean, it's so funny, like right after the that video went viral, I mean, within a couple of days, Rolling Stone writes a nationwide article about me in the United States. It says hardcore leftist trolling for Putin. And in the same, like on the same day, Newsweek magazine, which is also a national platform
Yeah.
in the United States, they say right winger, going for. So I'm a hardcore leftist right winger.
Yeah.
If you just look on the surface.
Well, if you want to smear someone, you always find the worst words, the best worst words to apply to them and
Yeah,
try
yeah.
to.
So I'm the guy that everybody loves to hate, and it's
Yeah.
and it's because I'm neither left or right wing. I'm born from Austin, Texas,
True.
which is like
But you
a
are a
very
communist.
I am a communist. I mean, it's but I mean, Austin is like the liberal island in the ocean of super arch conservatism that is Texas.
Yeah.
And so, it's like Willie Nelson and Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
These guys, they made a whole new style of music, a whole new lifestyle called the Cosmic Cowboy.
Yeah.
And it's like a hippie with cowboy boots and a cowboy hat and a gun in his pocket. But, he might smoke a little weed, and listen to the Grateful Dead or something like that. So it's the mix It's simply the mix of the best from both sides.
Yeah, true. And but I don't. The first time I talked to you, I remember, and we talked about this. Uh, being you a communist, or even if you were, well, if you were a liberal, maybe I would respect you a little bit less.
I was never a liberal, dude. I was
I know,
never
I
ever
know
a
that.
liberal.
I know, but as a communist and as a person who put his body, his physical body, where his words, where his mouth is, that actually is what earned. I think you deserve all the respect for that, even if people don't agree with
Well,
what
I
you
mean,
say.
and and I'm not saying that I'm a hero or, a saint or anything like that, but here's the thing. Anybody that doesn't back up their words by their actions, it's like, why even pay attention to them?
Yeah, but that's
Talk is cheap.
yeah, but that's like very it's standardized procedure now, in at least in Western
Dude,
society.
it's even worse than that, dude. Let me say this. The the social contract in especially America, but also in Europe and the West, wherever these liberal regimes have brainwashed, you know, a high majority of their citizens, this is the social contract. I will pretend to believe your bullshit
Yeah.
if you pretend to believe mine. And that's the way that people can say, some dude can say, "Oh, I'm a girl. You have to call me ma'am at the store," And
Okay.
he's sitting there with a beard or something.
Yeah.
That's how some kid can go to school and say, "I'm a cat." You'll have to say meow to me for me to answer. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, and everybody
It's insane.
pretends everybody else's lies, and they pretend to believe them. They know that it's fake. They know that it's a lie,
Yeah.
but they say, "Okay, I'll pretend to believe your lie if you pretend to believe mine." And that's the way that they've brainwashed people into totally like getting away from reality.
Yes.
And soon, and once you get into that practice, you begin to not be able to tell what's real from what's not. You
True.
become unable to do actual critical thinking.
True.
And the most important skill that a soldier can have, or even a human being, is to be able to discern reality. I mean, a soldier, on the front line that says he's got an AK and he says, "Oh, I'm a tank. I'm going to go marching towards the enemy." He's going to have an unfortunate, meeting with reality very quickly.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So to be able to understand what reality is, and it takes more, and I'm working on an article about this right now, about how to understand a reality, how to avoid gaslighting, where people trick you into thinking that what you see with your own eyes is not true. I mean, for example, like 2 weeks ago in Konstantinovka, in Ukrainian held territory.
Yes. I know of Donetsk, but
Da da
Ukrainian
da.
held.
The
Yeah.
rocket bombed the market. 15 people were killed. 40 people were horribly injured. And within hours, everybody, "Oh, Russia slaughters the innocent civilians."
Yeah.
And even today, the New York Times admitted,
True.
the
I seen that.
proof is that it was a Ukrainian rocket.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but the thing is, there's a high percentage of idiots that aren't going to read that article,
No.
but they saw from the get go, "I know, oh, Russia is slaughtering the Ukrainians, the civilians." And I mean, and again, it gets back to, they read the first 15 seconds and they don't dig into
No.
the depth.
And they not only dig in, they not only do not dig in, as they don't even listen to anything anymore. It's like
Right,
argument closed there.
dude.
It's
And it's so bad. And okay. And so check it out, bro. There's people that are ignorant, and that's not an insult to call somebody ignorant. It just means that they don't know, that they haven't been exposed to the truth.
True.
And then there are people who are stupid. And that means that they don't want to know the truth.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, and those people, I mean, and they're stupid because they think they know it all when they really don't know anything. And, you know, I mean, like this one person I know was watching a video today about a new school in the United States, you know, and it's all beautiful and bright colored chairs and everything like that. They're like, oh, they're going to teach math and, you know, la, 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 you know, everything like that. And I'm like, no, 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 no. There's no school in the United States today that isn't a brainwashing factory,
True. True.
you know? And so, I mean, and that's fact, man. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
sad but true fact.
It is sad.
And so, you know, they look at, you know, they see the headline, they see some pretty pictures, and then they think they know it all. They don't even have to read the article, you know? They don't have to put it in any context of history or politics or whatever. And so, you know, people that are stupid who have decided that they don't want to know the truth because they already have their opinion. And they're like, don't confuse me with the facts.
True.
You know, I already know everything. So whatever you're saying, it's Russian propaganda or la, 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 like that.
But it
So,
is. It unfortunately the Western propaganda machine has done a very good job at preparing these kinds of minds. And I watched.
bro, it is a science, dude. It's
Yeah.
down to a science.
It
I mean,
is.
it's
It
like
is. Yeah.
mathematics.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
It's really sad, and it takes. I mean, you know, I'll tell you something, man. I left school. The last full year of school that I did, even, I mean, in the 1970s, early 70s, the last full year of school that I finished was the 7th grade. And then I moved to a wilderness school. I lived for 3 years out in the woods. I slept on the ground in a tent. We cooked every single one of our meals over a campfire. We traveled all around the United States, backpacking, mountain climbing, rubber rafting, canoeing. I mean, we did 2-week-long backpack trips. And we didn't go to school. We didn't study geography. You know, we didn't study mathematics or any of that stuff. We studied real life, natural consequences. Oh, if you go on a 2-week-long backpack trip and you say, oh, I'm not going to take my coat because it's too heavy. And then halfway through it starts snowing, you know, you learn the realities of life. You learn reality. And I'll tell you something else, dude. When I was 20 years old, when I decided to join the U.S. Army, I had to take my GED, you know, like a test, you know, and if you pass it, they say you have the equivalent knowledge of someone that graduated from high school. I got
Oh.
98% on that.
Okay. Okay.
98%, bro.
I didn't know they made this in the early 80s. In the we're talking about the 80s, right?
Yeah, we're talking about 1980, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly 1980.
All right, because this concept only came to Portugal only in the 2000s, in the first decade.
Yeah, well, they had it back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was basically a way so that, I mean, because, you know, there was and are still a lot of people that don't finish high school, you know, and even back then, you know, I mean, I was like kind of a more different case back then, but I mean, now, you know, anybody that doesn't finish high school, and even for me back then, it means I escaped a lot of brainwashing. Another thing that I did was I never watched TV, bro. When I was like 9 or 10 years old, we had a TV at our house. It broke. And my dad, one of the greatest favors that he ever did for the whole family, he said, you know what, we're not getting another TV, you know? And so I didn't watch TV. I didn't go through the whole diseducation process, which was real back then, but which is turbocharged
Yes.
to infinity now,
Yeah.
and I mean, when I went to college in the 1990s, I had a 4.0 average. And I love to read, man. I've read thousands of books in my life, thousands.
Yes.
So I'm an autodidact. I educated myself,
yes.
and that's for someone to be educated these days. That's the only way to do it.
It is. It is. I know. I know. I mean, I come from a scholar's family. My father is a scholar. He's an historian. He does research, investigation, real knowledge production, and he publishes the books. And and I've grown, and I think that in my case that was my safeguard from TV and that, because he's been always very critic and he's been shedding the light when I was often fooled by other things that I was living in this society of I grown up in the
Of
90s.
course. And you're very lucky to have such a great and wise father, man. And please give him my best regards, man.
I will.
History, I mean, I'm actually my soul. If you had to say me in one word, it would be poet. I love, I love to write poems, verses. I love to write songs. Literature for me. Pablo Neruda.
Yes.
Shakespeare. I mean, these kind of guys really stir my soul. But Don Quixote, one of my favorite books, man.
Yes.
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yes, Cyrano de Bergerac. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I read Cyrano de Bergerac when I was 10 years old, and it changed my life.
Nice.
And so, of course, I love literature, but honestly, history is the most important subject.
So yes, so
I understand to know the truth of history, because if you don't know where you came from, if you don't know what happened before, then you don't even understand what's happening now, much less what's gonna happen in the future.
I'm really enjoying this topic, although this was not on my script here. But as we're talking about this, I always make a little script so I don't get silent moments.
No, that's okay. That's okay, man. But
the
I enjoy talking to you, man. I'm
the same. Likewise.
I hope we will talk again together soon, man.
I'm pretty sure we will. And what I wanted to say is that today you talked about ignorance previously, and what we can observe is that people are afraid. I see this on my workplace. I see this among the kids at school. They are afraid to be wrong. They are afraid to do mistakes because they get instant ridiculed. And I think this is a big break. It's hampering the learning, because
it is exactly
and everyone is just cheering for the champion horse.
Wait. Yes, exactly. And you remember, and it's not that they're afraid to be wrong. It's that they're afraid to be right when everyone else is wrong. Do you remember the story of Hans Christian Andersen? The emperor has no clothes.
Yeah.
And the swindlers came to the king and they said, "Hey, look, this is the most beautiful fabric, and only the wise and great can see it."
Everyone was like,
marching down the street naked, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so beautiful." And then the one little kid says, "That dude ain't got any clothes on."
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you know what? And it takes courage.
It does.
And you know what? And it does take courage to it's like in the empire of lies, speaking the truth is a revolutionary act.
It is.
And to be a revolutionary is the greatest thing you can be in a world where almost everything is wrong. And it takes a lot of courage. But let me say this, bro. Courage is the key to happiness. It is the key to happiness, because it is impossible to be happy if you are afraid. So do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And if, it's like,
But the
just the same thing, if some
society
dude,
is. Sorry to interrupt.
go ahead, go ahead.
Societies run on fear nowadays. Everything
Exactly,
is,
exactly. And it is the fuel of the people. Did you ever see the movie, the Russian movie Idi Ismotri, Come and See?
Idi Smotri. Is it? Maybe I'm mistaken, but is it one in the World War II with
Exactly,
with this
exactly. About the
little with this?
Belarusian partisans.
Yes. Okay, yes, I've seen
It's
that
a
movie.
very
It's
hard movie.
very hard, very hard. Yes,
Very hard, but it's like the most realistic war movie that was ever made, and
yes, that and Volhynia Massacre was also. You've seen that
yeah,
one as well.
exactly. Also very true,
Yeah.
And historically accurate to
True.
the 1000th degree,
Yeah.
But in that movie, there's a scene where, the commanders are talking to a bunch of partisans, and he says, Hitler's weapon is fear. And that's it, man. So the best advice that I give to anyone, especially young people, do not be afraid. We're all gonna die.
True. Yeah.
And so, why not live and die like a hero?
Exactly.
Even if nobody knows it, even if nobody cares, you know it, and God knows it.
True.
And that's another thing too. I'm a communist, but I'm also a Russian Orthodox Christian believer, and a serious believer. My wife, my godfather, my godmother, my family, we're all very much Christian believers. To me, atheism is like also a sign of ignorance, because to understand reality, it takes more than just saying, okay, show me the facts.
Okay.
Because 2 or 3 weeks ago, the New York Times and all these Western guys were showing, the facts, the Russians slaughtered all these people, in the market there. And then it comes out later, so understanding reality requires more than just what you can see. You have to also have to have intuition.
True.
You have to, it's really, really important,
I agree with you on this, but I have to raise my arm and admit that I am an atheist. I'm it's I was I was taught to be and but I've been through this many times in my head, and I still do.
I understand that, dude, and I understand that, and that's not a a deal breaker with us by any means. I can tell you that when I came here in 2014 and I joined the Essence of Time Combat Unit, which is Sudbremeni, a communist unit, and and serious communists. More serious communists than the Communist Party of the Russian Federation, much more serious. And and not that the Communist Party of the Russian Federation is bad. They do some good stuff, but Sudbremeni is the real deal. They sent, more than 50 guys here to make a combat unit, and I met those guys, and, they were real communists, hardcore, and most of them were atheists. And when they made their rotation to the combat front at the Donetsk airport,
okay,
many of them, when they came back, they said, "Hey, can we talk to Father Boris? We would like to get baptized."
But you see, Russell. Just this is not about me, but I'll just give you a little context on my religious background. Portugal had this revolution in '74. We got out of a long dictatorship, And one of the strong arms of this dictatorship was the Catholic Church.
I
And
understand that, dude. And I mean, I mean, there are a lot of good Catholics.
there are
There,
indeed.
there are a lot of good, very good, beautiful, wonderful Catholics, but the Catholic Church is not a good organization. I mean, they've
No.
been torturers, pedophiles, the bootlickers of monarchies for centuries. They helped many, many thousands of German Nazis escape at the end of World War II. They had a fucking Nazi Pope,
True. You're
Ratzinger.
Ratzinger, yeah, I recall that. Yeah.
But the thing is, bro, you need to have a personal relationship with God, bro, that doesn't need to be between any church, bro. It's your own personal
That
relationship, man.
that
And
that I am in. I'm yes. I do understand that.
and I'm a spiritual guy, bro. Before I became Russian Orthodox, dude, I studied Zen Buddhism when I was like a teenager, because it was like groovy, and I learned a lot from it, dude. And I studied it deeply. You know, the Native American religion, the Lakota tribe. I lived in South Dakota. I went to more than 100 of their sweat lodges, the Inipi. And it's not like, going to the sauna or something like that. I mean, it's a very, very tough physical experience. The heat is, you know, unbelievable. Most people can't bear it, but I did. And so they respected me because of that. I learned the religious songs. It's also a deeply religious ceremony. And so they invited me, they joined me, they adopted me into the tribe. They gave me an Indian name, which is Oyate Yahapaki in the Lakota language, which means, and this was, more than 25 years ago. And that name means he speaks for his people. I mean, it's not like, you go to the thing and you pay some money and
Yeah.
okay, what name do you want? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
War Eagle,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like they give you the name that
Yeah.
they see in you, and that's the name they gave me. And
Okay.
it's really kind of proven to be very true.
Yes.
Also, I studied Islam. I hung with um, Muslims very closely for more than a year. I've read the whole Quran more than once. I've read the whole Bible many times, dude. And I'm talking from one end to the other many times, and everything in it I thought about, and I with critical thinking too.
Yeah.
And I understand. So, and my belief is that, you know, God, we're all part of God. We're all a fragment. While we live here, we are like a little individual piece of the universe that gets the wonderful opportunity to look back at the universe as a whole and to think about it and to relate with it. And so when we die, when we go back to the universe, then we become part of the universe again. And the first thing we do, you know how they say when people die, oh, my life flashed before my
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so what we do, the first thing you do is you sit there and you watch every single thing you ever did from the perspective, not of yourself, but of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you kicked a dog, you feel it from the dog's perspective. You know, every time you walk out, and you see the old granny, begging on the street, and you don't give a 5 ruble, you give a 50 ruble. You feel that from the granny's perspective. And it's like, every time you help someone, every time you hurt someone, you feel it from their perspective. And that, I mean, and so there's no hell, dude. It's just that you have to experience everything you did. I mean, so somebody like Hitler or these private sector Nazis or something, everybody they tortured, everybody they killed, every, house they destroyed, whatever like that, they're going to have to feel it from their perspective.
Mhm.
It's not like punishment. It's just like justice. You get to see it from the other side.
Yes.
And so, and for me, like the Russian Orthodox religion is, and along with Islam, I have great respect for Islam. And, you know, the Russian Orthodox religion is the most real Christian religion because the Catholic Church is totally sold out.
It's a
The
money
Protestant
machine.
religion in the United States,
Mhm.
it's a business, it's a circus. They have, and really the thing that makes me really hate it over there in the United States, Protestant religion, they have this shit. It's called uh, prosperity gospel.
Hmm.
And what they do, they have these mega churches. They're like sports stadiums. 20, 50,000 people come. Rich people come. And these preachers who are, 100 millionaires, they have multiple mansions. They have a Rolls Royce, private jet, place in Hawaii, place in Spain, place in, wherever they want. And they say, and this is what they say, it's the prosperity gospel. It says, you are rich. And these are talking to all the rich people. He says, you are rich because God rewards you because you are good. And so if you're rich, that means you're good.
Good.
And you know how
Yeah.
sick this is, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
of
so
course, of
it
course.
doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter if you sell cigarettes or if you sell fentanyl or if you
Oh,
sell
weapons.
weapons,
Yeah.
you know,
Or if you just exploit workers, which is most
yeah,
of
or
the
if you exploit
cases.
workers.
Yeah.
If you're rich, you're good. And then this is the worst part, dude. They say, and all these poor people, they're poor because they're bad. And God is punishing them so you don't have to help them.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the exact opposite
I think
of
that's
everything that Jesus Christ taught. It's
it.
the opposite.
It's the definition of evil. it's
It is
it
it is
is.
satanic, dude. It's literally satanic. It's anti-religion. And so, when I came here and saw the Russian Orthodox people who, in like my family when I was a kid, we went to an Episcopal church, which is like Protestant church for rich people, basically. And I mean, we went to a church in Houston, Texas, where George Bush Sr. had his funeral, bro.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ugh, so,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying is that when I came here and I saw the churches here and I saw, Father Boris, my friend, Father Theophan, Father Kiprian, guys that were bogatiers, spiritual warriors. And, in a Russian Orthodox church, there's not a bunch of pews. It's not like you go in a Protestant church or a Catholic church and you sit down and you listen and, maybe you kneel for a little bit and maybe you stand up and sing a song. In an Orthodox church, you stand up the whole time, just like you will stand before God someday. So this is a real religion. The guys that I know here who have that religion, they actually live it. They're great examples of it. And so I'm very grateful to God that He has brought me. It's like my whole life has been a journey, the road, and the preparation to bring me here. And I thank God for it every day.
Давай.
Давай.
Oh man, it's being really good. I hate to change the subject now.
Go ahead, man.
But what? So have you been? And I believe so. You've been lately to the front line, visiting the front lines.
Bro, Donetsk is the front
Yeah,
line these
true.
days.
Okay, but you've been.
Really, they bombed Pushilin, Dennis Pushilin's
Yeah, yeah.
office
I
like
see
3
that.
days ago,
Yeah, I've seen
I
that.
mean, you can't drive in the center of the city. You can't drive 200 meters on any main road without seeing, the walls blown out with holes and boarded up windows these days.
Yeah.
I mean, and our house is in Petrovsky district, bro,
Yeah.
which is bombed hard and heavy with even the dirtiest weapons, even cluster bombs, even the pedal mines,
Mines. Yeah.
even HIMARS.
You.
Our house has been damaged 3 times. It has not been directly hit, but it has been damaged 3 times from shells that hit within 100 yards,
Yeah. Yeah.
100 meters.
So you're not living in that house anymore? No.
No, we haven't lived there for more than a year
Yeah.
because we were very fortunate. A friend of ours who had a son, a widow of a soldier that served in the DPR Army. She has a son, and when it started getting really heavy in 2022, she moved to where her parents live in a small town that's close to the Russian border and far from the front line and heavy shelling. And
Okay.
she had an empty apartment in the center of the city, and she offered it to us.
That's
And
nice.
so we've been living in the center, but which is also no joke, bro. I mean,
Yeah. 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 I
it
know.
hits here hard many times. I mean, every week somebody dies here for sure, and not just one from shelling.
What is the I've seen
It was back in 2022. I mean, the lines are very solid now. It's, I mean, the great fear before the special military.
but I mean
operation happened.
this was like very recent post that you wrote on Telegram, and was it an old post? I believe I haven't seen that.
Dude, I mean, the great concern in the early 2022 is that, I mean, and it was the plan of the Ukrainian army, NATO-backed Ukrainian army, to bust into the city, use the civilians as human shields, and basically make Donetsk into a situation like Stalingrad or like what Bakhmut was.
So just to set it straight, the front line is holding as before. No.
The front line in the cities right now is very strong on our side.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, we haven't been able to push forward enough to get the Ukrops out of shelling distance. So I mean, they shell us whenever they want, and they can hit pretty much any place within the city of Donetsk they want, and so it's not pleasant. It's worse than it was, say, from 2015 to 2021, but it's better than it was in 2022.
Okay. Okay.
The main thing, I mean, the main areas are, the neighborhoods along the front line, which is Petrovsky, Kirovsky, Kievsky.
Yes.
The neighborhoods that are close are still getting pretty much smashed. But the center of the city for the last month or two has calmed down a lot.
Okay. Do you think what do you think that's due to what possible causes? Do you think the Ukrainians, because they are concentrated going on the offensive in the south and in the Artyomovsk area, do you think they don't have? It's like they are saving their ammo, or do you think there is any other reason? I mean, I don't see any reason to bomb civilian areas from a military standpoint. So, but what is your take on that?
Well, it's not from a military standpoint. It's from, a political and, anti-humanitarian standpoint. I mean, it's literal terrorism. They're still trying to, break the will, of the people here, which will never, ever happen, dude.
Yeah.
We will die before we will run. I mean, the people in Donbass are among, you know, the greatest people in the world, bro. I mean, in the history of the world, you know. The people in Syria are like us. People in Cuba are like us. I mean, the people here, you know, we will take, you know, a stick or a rock and go fight against tanks if we have to. I mean, they've already literally done it. There's videos of people standing with their hands
I know, I've
holding
seen those
back tanks.
ones.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, and that wasn't play acting. You know, and the people here, that is their spirit. You know, I mean, there's a poster from 100 years ago, from after the Russian Civil War, and it's a map of Donbass. And in Donbass, there's like a big heart, and then there's veins going out all over from, you know, from Grozny to St. Petersburg. And then the top of it, it just says Donbass is the heart of Russia. Donbass, Serce, Russia. And you understand, this was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And they didn't say Donbass is the heart of Ukraine. They didn't say even that Donbass is the heart of Soviet Union. They said Donbass is the heart of Russia. And really, I mean, you know, this area, it was the hardest fighting during the revolution was here in this area. I mean, the revolution started basically in Odessa, you know, and so the hard fighting of the revolution, then the Russian Civil War, you know, it was right here on this very land. And I mean, that was a very hard fought war. And you know what? A lot of people in the West do not understand,
No.
which they're, shall we say, ignorant of. But the fact is that after the First World War, during the Russian Civil War, the United States, France, Britain, Japan, they sent 50,000 troops into Russia to help the monarchists, the White Guard.
Yeah.
And they fought right here in Donbass. You know, and that was, you know, I mean, you know, it's like you talk about Volin, you know, the atrocities
Yeah.
there. They were equally as hardcore here, you know.
Yeah.
And this area, Donbass, also was under German Nazi occupation in the Second World War.
Yeah.
You know, and we suffered tremendously. 1 kilometer from where I live is the 4-4 mine. It was 360 meters deep, 5 meters wide, 10 meters long. They threw more than 75,000 people down that shaft. It was 360 meters deep when the Germans came, and it was 60 meters deep when they left, and it was filled up with human bodies.
Yeah.
At least 75,000, probably 100,000. And that was not the only one. It's actually this 4-4 mine. It's the second biggest mass grave in Ukraine after Babi Yar.
Do
You
you
know, so the people here have suffered intensely. You know, they understand, you know, what true evil is, and they understand that the only way to defeat it is to be willing to give your life for a greater cause, for the greater good, you know. And we have defeated it. We defeated it in the Second World War. We defeated it in this war. We held the line. You know, Donbass defended not only itself but Russia for 8 years before the Russian army finally came in. And you know, Russia, I mean, Donbass has earned this respect and thanks of every patriotic and honest Russian. Russia didn't save Donbass. Donbass saved Russia. Because if we had not stood up back in 14 and 15, then the Ukrops years ago would have already been doing what they're doing to Donetsk, to Rostov and Taganrog, you know. And so, you know, we are patriotic people. We're special. There's not many people like us in the world. And there's no place in the world I'd rather be than here right now.
have
This
you
is my home.
have you yes. Have you had the? I do like this with my head and acquiesce, but I I genuinely uh, cannot grasp it on my mind. If you know what I mean. Just I'm sorry. Uh, have you talked to any? I mean, or recently or before to any Ukrainian POWs?
No, I don't really talk to Ukrainian POWs. I met a few back in early 2022 in Volnovakha in the first days of the special military operation. I was down there covering events. Um, and at the place where I was, they brought in 8 POWs. Actually, guys, not that they had captured fighting, but who were UCROP soldiers who had ran away and put on civilian clothes and were trying to sneak out. Pravi sector, Azov, and also Ukrainian army. And I mean, there's what can you say? I mean, it's the important thing to understand is that Ukraine, since the special military operation, since they started heavy duty conscription on the Ukrainian side, they are conscripting mostly people from eastern Ukraine. So these guys are basically ethnic Russians too. They didn't like say Heil Hitler and Slava Ukraine and go join up back in 2014. They didn't want to be like, terrorists and pirates and bandits and come and, murder and destroy. They got forced into it. So we don't see, and it's been this way the whole time. The war is not Russians and Ukrainians.
Yeah.
The war is Nazis against the future of the world, and Russia is the biggest obstacle to those Nazis taking over the world. And Ukraine is, and Syria, but especially these days, Ukraine is the cutting edge, the front line.
Yes.
And so,
The
you know, I mean,
forefront.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not against Ukrainians. We give them all the opportunity to surrender. If you're a Western mercenary, which these mercenaries have been here since 2015, bro. And I can say that personally from my experience on the front line in Sparta, in Han Spetsnaz Battalion. We were monitoring UCROP Army radio frequencies in 2015, and we heard American English and British English. And I was in Han Battalion Spetsnaz, and when they heard English, they'd say, "Hey, Tejas, come here, tell us what these guys are saying." And so I can tell you from personal experience that I was hearing English language myself on radio frequencies of the Ukrainian army in 2015.
Yes.
And so they've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
ISIS terrorists, Chechen Islamic jihadists have been here the whole time, bro. And now they're bringing in more. I talked to a couple of buddies of mine from the front line. All my friends are soldiers, bro. Uh, the ones that are still alive, almost all of them are still on the front line to this day. Almost 10 years they've been fighting a war, twice as long as the Second World War, more than twice as long. And two of my buddies came back from the front the other day. I was talking to them, and one of the most important things they said, you know what? Nobody realizes how many Polish and Latin American and Canadian and British mercenaries are here now. All the Ukrainians have pretty much been wiped out, except for the Nazis, that are the blocking troops. There's been a lot of videos recently coming out where, you know, conscripts, they say, all right, go forward. And they get to the point where they can't, they understand that it's suicide to go another step. And literally drone videos from Vostok Battalion, my old battalion, guys, Ukrainian soldiers that are wounded, and then blocking troops just come up, finish them off. Just because you were wounded, you should have gone on further. I mean, so, the blocking troops, the really true evil Nazis, these are valuable troops to these guys. That's why.
So they have these punishment battalions.
Yeah, or blocking battalions.
Blocking from retreating. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. They send, the inexperienced, the, less valuable guys they just take off the street. They give them a Kalashnikov and say, okay, go that way, through the minefield, through, to the tanks, to where the artillery can spot them.
Because I've been seeing a lot of videos, drone videos published by the Ministry of Russian Federation, also some published by the some Ukrainian Telegram channels, and it's insane. The carnage, for example, near Rabotino, it's insane, and they just keep going and keep doing and keep getting slaughtered. And are they drugged?
Let me explain it to you, bro, how you can understand. Is that these Ukrop Nazis from Western Ukraine consider the people in Eastern Ukraine, even that's still under Ukrainian control, they consider them Russians. So they're like livestock to them,
Yeah.
And so, the Western Ukrainians, Azov, the really hardcore Nazis, they get all the training, they get all the weapons, they get all the gear. And then they say, for every 10 Azov Nazis, they say, okay, here's your 100 conscripts from Eastern Ukraine. Go drive them till they achieve the objective or until they're all dead.
Okay.
And that's why it is. I mean, it's not, they don't care, okay, of course, Kiev, Ukraine, it's a puppet state. They have no say in it. The United States, and their puppet NATO control every single thing that happens in Ukraine. Every military, economic, political, social, right down the line. It's all from the West, especially the United States. And the United States, their goal is to and I don't mean the people of the United States. I mean the scum that own and control the government, the fascist government of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Their goal is to depopulate Ukraine. And they're doing a highly efficient job of it. Because in less than 2 years, 1 million people have died in eastern Ukraine.
Well, when they say the words "to the last Ukrainian," I think it's pretty clear. Those famous words.
That's exactly true, man.
And
I mean, and you see now, I mean, to the point where they're going to start drafting women. They're literally making body armor
for women,
for pregnant women.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, but understand that their goal is mostly to exterminate the male population. Because if you exterminate the male population, what's left? A bunch of defenseless women and children that whoever comes in can do anything they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And Ukraine is the main source these days, not only of human trafficking, sex slaves, pedophile providers, but also of human organ trafficking. And this is a fact, dude. It's an irrefutable fact. I mean, Ukraine has been among human trafficking and organ trafficking, one of the main centers in the world since even before 2000, since 2011. You know, there were articles that were written saying, "Oh yeah, Ukraine is the center of human and organ trafficking." You know, and they sell to United States, Europe, Israel, which is what they do. You know, and now, so it's like turbocharged.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
imagine a whole country full of just women and children.
the United States hit the jackpot when they got a proxy like Ukraine, because they never had one like this before.
That's exactly right, dude. You make a very good point there. I mean, the money laundering that's gone on, you know, they get paid for the weapons that they send to Ukraine,
Yeah.
and then Ukraine sells 75% of them, and then they get a kickback from that. So I mean, it's about as evil. I mean, it's literally satanic, man. It's about as evil as it can get.
Can I
It's against
interrupt you?
everything of
Can I interrupt you? It's very unprofessional, but I have my wife on the phone and I had some commitments that I'm late to. It just take 10 seconds, man. I'm sorry.
Давай, it's no problem, bro.
Sim, olha, estou em direto. Estou em direto agora. Ela está aqui já, ela já está aqui à porta. Vá, até já, até já. Joana, está tudo bem? Peço desculpa. Como é que vieste? Pronto. Ok.
Ele estava tipo. Ele estava a abranar, já tinha parado, mas parou-se na lateral da estrada, mas
Ok.
estava a ver,
Ok.
eu pensei o quê? Que ele ia parar ali para eu sair, não ia fazer a manobra, mas não, começou, eu abri a porta e ele disse, fecha, que eu faço fazer a manobra para trás, para entrar com o rápido, e abri a porta, que vergonha.
Pronto, não faz mal, filha. Estou em direto agora, tá bem? Depois já falamos, eu vou já falar contigo, ok? Vá, obrigado. Because I was supposed to pick my daughter started new school this year, went to a new school, and it's in the town where I work, and she has to take a lift with the other family, and I was supposed to pick her up here a couple of kilometers, and I completely lost track of time during our conversation. But she's home already and
Bro.
everything is fine.
Oh, she's already at home?
Yeah, she's there. She was just here at the door, talking to me. And my wife was alerting me on the phone. You have to go in and get your door. So, but everything is good. Sorry for this moment, man.
No problem.
It's just
Sorry for distracting you.
no.
But that means it's a good conversation.
No, it is a very good conversation for me. I really enjoyed this opportunity that you provide, and yeah, I'm thankful. And I've been last time we spoke. I remember during the conversation, because I've been watching another live stream that you already made with Rollo Slavsky. You remember this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was a bit. I also had a live stream with him afterwards, and because his view shocked me a little bit, and then you told me through the chat that, of course, you do not agree with, but he had some points. And I really, in those, it raised a lot of doubts on my mind, those conversations I had with him and with you.
You know, he's made some posts and articles since then that really make me not like and trust him.
But the thing is, and I will be honest, and we are live, and so I'm not afraid to put my opinion on this one. Even if some of the points he makes are right, I think that if it's like within a family, you solve your problems within your family. You don't go to the public square. This is my thinking.
And understand this, bro. The technique of propaganda, the most effective technique. I mean, if you lie all the time, people will figure it out and not trust you.
True. That.
But if you lie 50% of the time, you will trick a lot more people. And really, I don't like that guy. I don't trust him. I would not be on his show again. I would not recommend him to anybody. I would recommend that anybody that watches him watch out for him, because I think he's a fucking bullshit artist. Dude. I say that live.
I really don't get the guy. I really do. I
You know what? I do.
Okay.
He's not on our side. He's pretending to be on our side.
Yeah, that's the thing. He claims to be like he's for Russia and all against
That's
the empire.
The most effective propaganda. I mean, one traitor is as dangerous as a squad of soldiers that are attacking you, of the enemy.
But I recall.
And really, I mean, I've seen what he's written since my interview with him. And Rolo, if you're listening, fuck you.
Oh, shit.
And I mean that, and I don't give a fuck if he likes it or not, man, because seriously, the shit that I've seen that he's written since then, I can tell that he's a propagandist for the other side.
That is exactly what it seems like, but at the same time he puts himself in a position that well I think you get it better than I do. But I remember that it was you also had some doubts about the things that were going on, because but I was asking you questions. For example, I remember asking you, why has not the front line moved from Donetsk?
Yes. What? And of course, there are still a lot of questions like that, I mean, and the people of Donbass have suffered greatly because the front has not moved.
Yes.
And I am a citizen of Russia. I'm a loyal citizen of Russia. I trust and support Vladimir Putin. But there's a lot of things that, were not done correctly and cannot be explained by stupidity alone. There is a very serious fifth and sixth column in Moscow, oligarchs, pro-Western Russian traders who have a great deal of money, and money is political power, and they are working against what's good for Russia and what's good for humanity. And that's a simple fact. And I don't care who doesn't like it if I say that, because it's a fact. And so the sooner, and I'm not saying by any means that Vladimir Putin is one of them. I'm not saying that he is controlled by them. I'm not saying that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it has become clear through what has happened that he does not, or shall I say, he has not taken as much control of them as he needs to, because they are still on, especially in the economic front and in the military front. They have cost Russia a great deal, an enormous amount of treasure and blood that did not have to be spent and wasted in such a way.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand. Yes, of course, I can understand that point. I will not judge any action simply because I'm not inside. I do not understand what is going on. But that's why I like to listen to you, because you are there, you are with the troops, you talk to the people at the front, you know exactly what soldiers get and what soldiers do not get, and that is why I do not rush to criticize, because when I study other wars, there were uncountable very, very big mistakes made, for example, by the Soviets in the Second World War, and until they learn how to do things, they
Of course, and
Yeah.
of course, and you know what? I'll say this: there are a lot of great advances that are being made these days. And I mean, the wise people, they play the long game. I mean, of course, the Chinese do, and it seems that Russia has learned some good lessons from that. I mean, Russia now has the advantage on the military frontier.
Yes, that was my perception, and I wanted to ask about that
Yes,
because
exactly. And they really do. And they really do. And soon they will be able to march all the way to Kiev or Lvov if they want to, which they don't want to and which they don't need to. But in this war, anything less than Russian control of Kiev and everything east of it, including Odessa,
it's a defeat.
is a defeat for Russia.
Mhm.
So they have to take Kiev and they have to control. I mean, they talk about, we're going to make a treaty and, Zaporozhye and Lugansk and Donetsk and Kherson. The Ukrainians will let Russia have that. No, that's complete bullshit. And they say, maybe we'll go all the way to the Dnieper River. And that's bullshit too, because the Dnieper River is, first of all, one of the main transport areas of Ukraine.
Mhm.
And it's also one of the main providers of drinking water for Eastern Ukraine.
True.
So
I-
hold on, let me finish this. If our enemies, our mortal enemies, are on the other side of the river, who's going to be able to move anything down that river? And who's going to be able to drink the water from that river
Mhm.
when our enemies have already proven that they have and will use chemical and biological weapons?
True.
So it's Kiev or bust. And that's militarily. And Russia will soon have the ability, because the Ukrainian army is going to be soon non-existent, and NATO ain't coming in. I mean, like I said already, my guys on the front, my brothers, dudes I served with, Brat Oruzhia, brothers in arms, they say, you won't believe how many. They say the Ukrainian army is getting, slaughtered, cut down like grass. And what's left, what they're filling in is with, Western mercenaries, ISIS, Latin American, Canadian. And so these mercenaries are coming in and they're getting wasted too. But
have you heard about this helicopter crew member that betrayed? I do not say defect because it was in fact a betrayal.
Yes, I have certainly heard about it. I'm not really sure. I mean, I've read a lot of stuff from both different perspectives, and I'm not really sure. I haven't really formed an opinion on it yet,
Okay.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it could all be fake,
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
psyop.
it's like, the other day they said, an F-35 flew to Havana.
Yeah. They lost it. It disappeared on F-35.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and then they find that,
Yeah.
northwest of where it took off from Charleston. But, I mean, so who knows what, I mean, it's what's, and you have to think, you have to think with your brain and with your heart, about what's real. If it doesn't make sense, if it seems like,
Yeah.
So crazy, so either so incredible that it can't be possible,
Yeah.
or too good to be true,
Okay. Yeah.
you have to take, a step back and say, I need a little more information before I, decide for sure what happened.
I realized that in this past three and a half, almost 3.5 months of Ukrainian offensive, that they, well, you according to my point of view, I think it's a total failure. I think most of people that look into it militarily, it's a disaster. But I remember General Ben Hodges, you know perfectly well who it is, predicting a 6-day breakthrough to the Black Sea and Russian command in disarray. And my question is, this is, of course, this is obviously absurd, but my question is, who, how can this kind of information be put forward, especially in a war that had been lasting for a year, with all the sides knew about it? I mean, what is in your opinion, what is the purpose? Because this for me, it doesn't even qualify as propaganda, because I don't know who they would like to fool with this
Who
information.
they want to fool is the people of the West, bro. It's like the story of Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny.
But it's okay. Okay.
It's like, pay $5 every person to come into the circus tent and, see the, whatever, the Elephant Man, or,
Yeah.
the Bat Boy, or,
Other freak show like that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, there was never, once Russia came in, and this, I mean, before Russia came in the end of March, or the end of February 2022, there was a very real danger that the Ukrops, NATO Nazis could break through. But once Russia came in, that danger was eliminated permanently.
But people were like, I remember reading in the media, in different outlets, for example, because we had great victory at Kherson, where 40,000 people run away. Zelensky was saying this the other day in an interview to The Economist. And we've captured huge chunk of land in Kharkov region, Kupiansk and all that. And so they were like using this as a justification for their arguments.
It's total bullshit. And I'll tell you something, bro. What happened in Kharkov and Kherson, Izium, these places, it was not a military defeat. It was a political defeat. Something happened diplomatically behind the scenes.
Okay.
That caused it. Was, I mean, Russia could have took Kiev within a month of the beginning of the operation. And somebody somewhere made some kind, I mean, and there's no telling what it could be. Say, we're going to release, the Black Plague on Moscow if you don't back off, or whatever it is. But it was a diplomatic deal. It was not a military deal. I mean, and there were, in those days, the Russian military had a lot of less than competent leaders at the top who strategically made serious mistakes. But
Yes.
the retreats were not because of military imperatives. They were because of some kind of backroom diplomatic deal that got made, bro. And, and for Zelensky to pretend that it was because of the power of the Krop army is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people need to understand that.
Okay. And so, yes, it is what it is now. We are seeing. I wanted to ask you about. I mean, I feel that we would have more to talk about, but I also feel that we will have more opportunities. And
yes, we will have more opportunities, bro. I'm willing to talk as long as
As long as
Or
we have subject.
not all night, but
Yeah.
if you want to go another 20 or 30 minutes, I can do that.
I have this question here that it's to ask you about your thoughts, to know your thoughts about this new concept of war, because during this conflict throughout since 2014 until now, we have seen real change in the way that tacticians must think and strategists must think nowadays,
It is
because
absolutely, this is the first robot war
yeah,
in human history, bro.
yeah,
The effect and impact of even, civilian DJI Mavic drones. And I have friends that fly those drones, bro. I mean, I got my first drone, Mavic drone, back in 2016. And I was telling guys here then, you know, imagine what you can do with
with
this.
this,
And I
yeah.
didn't even think about like dropping bombs
No,
from them.
just scouting the territory. Yeah,
I mean, it is, it's what they call in American military, they call it a force multiplier.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it is a force multiplier times 1,000.
True,
And
true.
I'm very proud to say, I mean, in the first days of the war, when I was serving on the front, to me, the most important force multiplier was a tiplovisor, a thermal imager, where you could see not just night vision, but where you could detect heat,
Yeah,
where you could see
concealed bodies and
and
vehicles. Yeah,
and we had one when I was on the front, and it was not a good one by any means. It was Belarusian. It worked effectively. It saved my life. It saved the lives of my comrades. But one night when I found a sniper 50 meters away that was crawling up right on our position, but tiplovisor, and now they have drones that have a tiplovisor,
yeah,
and they can drop a bomb. And and it's like, and to me, the drones are the most scariest things because you know what? They fly over my house
yeah,
in Petrovsky,
yeah,
and if and you can't hide from them.
yeah,
And if they drop a bomb on you, they hit you. I mean, I've seen like videos where they hit a guy like right on the shoulder with a
yeah,
bomb and his head flies off.
yeah, yeah.
I've
It's
seen the guy laying on the ground and the bomb lands between his legs and his legs go whoosh,
yeah,
like that. And who wants to think what happens to,
yeah, yeah.
you
No,
know,
no, no, no.
everything else,
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, he didn't have to worry about it because he was
Yeah,
dead
he
two
was dead.
minutes
Yeah,
later.
yeah,
But I mean, that's terrifying stuff, dude. When you can't, I tell you, bro, I've been underneath them, and when they're flying above like 200 meters, you cannot see them, you cannot hear them, but they can see what color your eyes are, dude.
yeah, yeah.
And when they drop a bomb, they do not miss.
So I think the game changer here will be the countermeasures for the drones. And
Dude, once they get production of drones to be like where they can produce tens of thousands of them a month, then they can send 2, 3, 4, 500 of them at a time, and then there's
swarm.
no hope for the target.
Okay, okay. What I mean,
So it's a whole new it's it's a whole new phase of warfare that's never been. I mean, it's literally the equal of from bows and arrows to
to
gunpowder and
gunpowder. Yeah,
guns.
and so because of that, and you cannot. Troops are not allowed to concentrate in big numbers anymore. Like, for example, to do the Schwerpunkt, the Blitzkrieg tactic, where you concentrate a huge force in a point to punch through the line. That is always detected. I mean, the kind of surveillance that you have now, it's impossible to go unnoticed. And this is
Well, I mean, fortunately, it seems like, I mean, at the beginning of the special military operation and throughout the years before, since 2014, Russia was at a very serious disadvantage as far as satellite surveillance went, which is tragic and cost a lot of good people their lives. It seems today that Russia is catching up to that.
yeah, yeah, it's
And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. I mean, Russians, they have very good intelligence as far as like people on the ground. There's a lot of Ukrainian, you know, field grade officers who understand that their country, who are patriotic Ukrainians, who understand their country is being, you know, whored out and whipped to death by, Western parasites, and who try and help, who want to work with Russia to liberate Ukraine from their, you know, Nazi occupiers, just like it was in the Second World War.
mhm.
So Russia has good human intelligence, and and human intelligence is very important, of course, because that's how they find out, oh, there's going to be a bunch of
Yeah,
NATO officers in this building.
yeah,
We're getting ready to, you know, drop it down, give it a Fab 500 or something,
yeah.
But, real time satellite intelligence is, one of the most important things. And it is, again, another thing in this war that is different from wars before. I mean, the United States has had it for a long time. Now Russia's getting it. So it's becoming a thing on equal levels for both sides.
I
And I
understand.
can tell you this. I'll tell you this too, that Russia is making great strides as far as its military industrial complex. They're starting to, ramp up the production of what they need to defend themselves and to win this war. But the people here in Donbass, uh, one of my great friends who I served with in 2015, 2017 on the front, he's a designer of drones and bombs. And he's doing great work. I mean, the guys here with a little bit of money, I'm talking about like DPR forces,
And he's
are
doing
doing as good or better than the Russian military industrial complex back in Moscow and, la la la, with
okay.
billions of rubles worth of work. And so, you know, again, the people of Donetsk are going to defend themselves and defend Russia against every enemy. You know, not like to the last Ukrainian who gets thrown into it, but to the last Donchan, citizen of Donetsk, because we're standing here, we're defending, you know, not only our own family and our own homes, but also our own history, the land that our grandparents fought for, and our own culture. which is Russian culture. You know, we're proud. You know, Donetsk is the heart of Russia. Donbass is the heart of Russia.
Do you?
And
Yes, please. I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, just
No,
you know, and the work that we're doing here, you know, it's like when we had the referendum, you know, last year to if DPR wanted to join Donetsk, you know, and of course, you know, DPR said yes.
join
Of
Russia. Yeah.
course, I went and voted. Of course, I voted yes, but I didn't vote yes for the DPR to join Russia. I voted yes for Russia to join the DPR.
That's good. uh, do you think recently we have seen the big players gathering at the UN
The
hall?
UN in New York.
Yeah, in New York. And so, I mean, the speeches that we heard, I think there was nothing new except that everyone is hinting at the support that the West is giving Ukraine is somehow waning. It's losing strength, and I think. And the other day, I broke down an interview, the one I mentioned to the Economist that Zelensky gave, and it was like his speech was like almost threatening. Like if they stop helping us, I will call upon all the refugees and all the Ukrainian citizens to to cause trouble and cause havoc in Europe, something like this. What do you think is my question is more about? Do you think, because I do not think that the West and NATO or the USA will give it just on a platter. They, if it is in fact waning, if it is in fact, because we are not sure, but if it is in fact reducing the help to Ukraine, what is it behind? Have you thought about it, or because do you know what I'm getting into? Because NATO is not just going to
Of course,
stop
bro.
supporting Ukraine. I mean, it's,
Understand, bro. I was born in 1960. I grew up during the Vietnam War. You know, I don't remember his name, but the president of South Vietnam, the United States allowed to get assassinated so they could put in somebody else that they thought was better.
yeah,
You know, it's okay, so the United States government has nothing to do with morality or what's better for their own people or what's better for the world, for humanity. It's only, the parasites and oligarchs who own and control the US government.
hmm,
That's the decisions that get made. And when the US government, or those who own and control the US government decide, hey, you know what? This isn't a good deal. It's not profitable anymore.
okay,
Then they're going to start backing out,
okay,
just like, I mean, so that's what's happening now, I mean, they're going to try, I mean, just like what's happening in Karabakh right now,
yeah.
I mean, they're going to try, pushing in from other directions.
Do you
They've already understood
mhm.
that the Ukrainian army has lost. All the foreign mercenaries that have come into Ukraine are not going to win.
Yes,
And so they're like, why send more millions and billions that we can steal for ourselves,
okay,
on a hopeless cause,
okay.
So
But I mean, after all this hype around the Ukraine, and it's because they are defending all the freedom and liberty and all that blah blah blah.
Just like it was in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, true,
bro.
true. Just like it was. Yeah, yeah.
And
Same.
the same way they
yeah.
ran from there, they will run from here.
Okay. So
Exactly the same.
okay, and
They'll say, "Okay, we're leaving." I mean, and just like remember in Afghanistan, they didn't even tell them they were leaving.
no.
They just left, and
Yeah, yeah.
a weekend later they were all gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the way it's going to be in Ukraine. And you know, Zelensky's going to get what he deserves. And Russia, I hope and truly believe, will liberate and denazify and demilitarize Kiev and everything east of Kiev, including Odessa. And then they will say, okay, we can make a peace treaty. And you know what else? This is very interesting. Today, a political analyst in Russia, he said, you know what? Poland's going to come in and they're going to take a big chunk of Western Ukraine.
Yeah, that
They said was theirs.
okay.
And you know what? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because then Poland gets all, first of all, the most rabid Nazis. They can deal with them. And also, I mean, the most useless, barren land in Ukraine. All the good stuff in Ukraine is in the east.
He's in the east, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, the forests on the Carpathian Mountains have already been clear cut. There's, over the last almost 10 years, everything in Western Ukraine has been scraped up and robbed and shipped away. And there's nothing left. I mean, it's like an empty rock or something there, Okay. So let the Polish have it. They deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They deserve it. And whatever's left, the Nazis there, the dudes who are the grandchildren who did Volin, let them deal with them. Let Poland deal with them.
Do you think Russia will try to because one aspect of the war has been always analyzed by all the opinion makers and people such as myself as well, that Russia is not very good at fighting the information war. And so the propaganda war has been always on the side of Ukraine. They portrayed the perfect victim, the perfect conditions to tell the tale of liberation and freedom of the people, democracy versus autocracy. This kind of argument. Do you think Russia is prepared in the event of victory to win the hearts and minds of the Ukrainian people that have heard only one version throughout since 2014, basically? How do you think this will play out, the relation between this? Is it reconciliation possible?
Well, first of all, I'll say that I agree with you. Russia has not done a very good job on the information war. They have not. I've been here since 2014. I fought in the Army. I've been making anti-propaganda videos since 2015. They've been viewed multi-millions of times. Nobody from any Russian government or media outlet has ever offered me any support, contacted me and wanted to really work together until very recently. I'm starting to get in some contacts, but for more than half a decade I worked here for free on my own. No support from DPR, no support from Russia.
I know.
I mean, not even technical support.
Yes, I am aware.
And I did great work. I'm not to brag or anything, but
Yeah, you
You know,
you are well known, and but you have given a lot of interviews to a lot of
I
platforms.
mean,
Some of
around
them,
the world, bro.
yeah,
And you know what? When the special operations started, I was the guy that the Western media censorship concentrated on, you know.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, you know, dudes like Patrick Lancaster still have their YouTube channel.
yeah. I
You know,
actually,
they're interviewed by Western media.
but I find this very strange, and this is something I really have to
You know
share with
what?
you.
It's not strange at all. It's not strange at all, bro.
What's the what is the criteria? Because I see channels that tell the other side of the story, and they seem like they have, as we say in Portugal, they have the white card, so the free pass. They go everywhere. They're never censored on YouTube. They're never demonetized, and then some others, at the minimum, they cut their legs. I cannot understand. It's out of my reach.
I don't even know what monetized on YouTube means, bro,
I
because I
don't know
never
either.
ever was.
I don't know either. It's you can see by the numbers
Well,
of my channel.
that shows we're doing our job right, dude. Because the ones that you know, I mean, you can tell why. You can tell why. The ones that the West is afraid of, they smash down, dude. They censor completely. Like me. Twitter 2016, Facebook 2019, YouTube 2022.
Yeah.
All I have right now, I mean, even my web page has been hacked, dude. I haven't been able to post on it since 2020. It's still there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great articles there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, all I have is VK and Telegram.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, I mean, and understand, dude, the ones that say something that our enemies don't like, they smash down. Dude, the information war is every bit as serious as the military war.
True.
So when when our enemies see somebody that they're afraid of, they're going to start shooting missiles. When they see a bunch of posers sitting around in a cafe giving each other hand jobs and saying, "Oh yeah, we're so cool, we're war journalists and la la la. Let's go to the Donbass Palace." You know, those
Okay.
guys they don't worry about. They know. I mean, they know that they're there for their own. They're there. They're not there to help. They're not there to tell the truth. They're there to make money and make a name for themselves.
For example, I want to talk about concrete examples. I'm not I'm not going to mention the biggest ones, for example, Scott Ritter or no, I'm not going to even
No, no,
mention.
no, dude. Mention every one of them. Mention the names, and I'll tell you
Uh, for
right now.
for example, comparing Mike Jones from Earl Grey and the Duran, I really cannot understand why one is completely censored and the others are not. I enjoyed both. Let me put it forward. Of course, I do not agree with 100% of what they say or the predictions they do, but I think they are refreshing in the information space. And so, but I don't see the difference. I don't see. I even think that Earl Grey was more harmless than the guys at the Duran that have much more projection. And so I don't see YouTube's criteria here. I really cannot understand.
Well, you know, I agree with you. I mean, to me, they're both pretty harmless. I mean, and to me, they're both more interested in making money and making a name for themselves than they are about being on the side of what's truth.
No, they live from it. I mean, it's their job. It's
And not
yeah,
only live from it,
yeah,
they're getting good money
yeah,
from
yeah,
it.
yeah. It is. It is a good business. I see that.
Dude, if I told you what my economics were, it would make you cry, dude. I drive a 2019 Sept. 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 2019 Sept.
A Lada.
a Russian Neva, a Lada Neva that's 33 years old. And I
Yes.
have to, every time I start it, I have to pray, first of all, that there's not a bomb under it. It's going to explode. And second of all, that it'll start if there's not, you know? I mean,
But
you know, I live in an apartment that a friend of us lets live in,
yeah. But
you know? My,
I do understand. It's like
hold on. I want to talk about Mike Jones a little bit more.
okay.
You know what? I think he's a good guy. I think he's got his heart in the right place.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say anything bad about him. But, and I'm not talking about him specifically, but there was a lot of fucking tourists
Okay.
who started coming here in 2022. You know, who said, "Oh, this is the next new big deal. You know, I'm going to come here and,
Okay.
Hey, look at me. You know,
Okay.
they're selfie sticks."
Okay. Okay.
And I would count Mike Jones as one of those. I've been here since 2014. And a lot of these fucking tourists that come here, you know, they come here, even some of them that I help come here, get here. And as soon as they get here, they're like, okay, oh, Tejas, a lot of people think you're an asshole. So I'm going to go, you know, suck the ass of all the big shots, you know, and dude, that's a fact. And, you know, and of course, it's rather irritating. I didn't come here to make a name for myself. I didn't come here to be an internet star or to make
Yeah.
money. I came here to fight against Nazis on the front with a gun and to defend people with my life.
Mhm.
And so when I see these fucking tourists come here, you know, and, you know, say, oh, it's Tejas, you know, it is rather irritating. But, you know, let it be what it'll be. I don't care. And you know what? I got to say, I got friends and I got enemies in Moscow too, because I say what I think and what's true from the perspective of the people who have defended Russia for almost 10 years now,
Yes.
you know, and
Yeah.
so
I mean,
there's a lot of people, a lot of traitors in Moscow who have shut down a lot of good opportunities for me, who have shut down what should have been said and should have been done.
Mhm.
But I don't care, dude. When I came here in 2014, in December of 2014, I got to Donetsk. And I came here to join the army and to fight on the front lines. And that's what I did. And I did not expect to live to see the spring. And that's for real. That's why I came here.
Mhm. Yes.
And even though I thought it was a one-way trip with a very short experience, I came here anyway. And thanks to God, thanks to my guardian angels, thanks to my hero comrades, and thanks to my own skills as a soldier, here I am almost 10 years later. These fuckers that come here, you know, as war tourists, you know, to make a name for themselves, it just, it sickens me, bro. I mean, it's like really irritating, and it's hard for me to even tolerate them, you know, and I try and help out everybody, you know, that I think is coming here to help. And if you want to come here and help, come on, I'll help you out. I mean, like I had a guy come from Finland last week, man. You know, he brought $1,000 worth of insulin, and he rode on the bus and he rode on the train, and he came here. He said, I heard there was a shortage of insulin, which there is here, and this is good European high quality insulin, you know. And we went to the hospital. We gave it to the emergency room. The doctors almost cried how happy they were to get that. you know, and this is a guy that's not coming here to say, oh yeah, you know, I want to go stand and make a video about myself.
Yeah.
I made one video with him, you know, when we gave the stuff over to the hospital, just to show that it was given, you know. But, you know, the people of Donbass are among the greatest people of the world. Donbass is the cutting edge of the war between good and evil for the future of humanity.
Let me see
We
if I
don't need fucking tourists. We need people that are coming to help, even now, and especially now.
okay.
So,
So you are I do understand your perspective. It's the perspective of the person who is getting his hands dirty with the work, and then get constantly visited by people who just seeing the views, and like someone visiting the animals on the zoo
no,
or
it's like
something.
the perspective, and they call it in the United States, it's called stolen valor. When like veterans, you know, of the U.S. military, and they're like going around downtown, and they go to a store or something, and they see some dude walking around in a military uniform with, you know, 50 medals across their chest
Okay, yeah,
that, you know, they were never even in the military.
yeah,
And they're
yeah.
walking around saying, "Oh, hello, little kid. Let me shake your hand. I'm a hero." You
Okay,
know, and it's like that, dude. It's like that, you know.
okay, yeah, yeah.
These, you know, everybody that wants to be, you know, everybody that wants to come here and help is welcome. Everybody that comes here, you know, it's like poverty tourism or war tourism. You know, they're like, "Oh, the poor little kid, send me money and I'll give them some," you know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I understand. And the others that come just to make the business of the communication business, yes.
Exactly.
I really understand that. But how would we were talking about, for example, Russia not being not having the upper hand in the information war, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, but how would they do that if they wouldn't let foreigners go there and show when they go back home and show what they have seen? And isn't this an important role as well to do?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because you know what? For some dude to go say, "Oh, look, there's some more, you know, Ukrainians bombed and here's some dead bodies on the street."
Okay.
You know, that's like Geraldo Rivera, you know, that's sensational bullshit. You know, I
Okay.
mean, how many thousands of times has it already been shown? You know,
Yes.
the point is to put it, and this is the most important point, is that information warfare relies on context. You have to let them understand. You have to make them understand history, the history of the war. You know, how can someone who shows up in 2022 tell the history of the war that's been going on since 2014?
14. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if without context, it's just, you know, war porn. You know, it's
Yeah.
just, you know, sensationalism. And
Yes.
so the people that are intelligent enough to explain it in context should be the ones that Russia is promoting. You know, the people, the people who are intelligent enough to explain it in context, explain who is the good guy and the bad guy. That's the guys who the Western, you know, media platforms are suppressing and censoring.
Okay.
Graham Phillips
Yeah. Yeah.
is kicked off YouTube now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I know. I've been following him since 2014 too.
I have too, man. He's one of the reasons that I came here. But I got kicked off YouTube before he did, you
Yeah.
know?
And
And
yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, and you know what? It's just like, you know, you have to be on one side or the other. You can't sit on two chairs. You know, you can't sit on the fence. You know, you have to, you know, you can't say, you know, uh, you know, in Donetsk, Ukraine,
Mhm.
you know, you have to either be on one side or the other. And you know what? Because in this war, there's two sides:
Yeah.
good and evil, lies and truth. And you can't be on both sides of either of those.
Yes. Yes. Russell, I have this man that contacted me in on VK when well he's been suggesting me people to interview. This the profile's name is Vlad Kuznetsov, and he knew that you were on today, and he asked me to ask you a couple of questions. One of them, I told him I wouldn't do it at least the way he
Dude,
put it.
ask me that one first. Ask me that one
No,
first.
it's a loaded question. It's a long
I know,
loaded
that's
question.
okay. Go ahead. I will
Okay.
I will fire it right back.
Okay. So if you say that, then okay, I will read it. Although, does Russia really believe that the second strongest military in the world, of which half of Russian budget is spent at the expense of workers, doctors, and teachers, can push Ukrainians from Avdiivka for nearly 2 years, which is 7 kilometers from Donetsk? Maybe Ukraine is allowed, in capital letters, to depopulate Donetsk so that the citizens of Donetsk, who are real communists, pose no threat to oligarchs when the peace is signed, because they will be dead or maimed. So what? Yeah, I think it doesn't need an explanation. I hope you
You know
understood it
what?
well. Yeah.
First thing, yes, I do believe that.
Okay.
Second thing, Avdiivka is 10 kilometers, not 7 from the center of Donetsk.
Okay.
I've been there.
Okay.
So yes, what's happening now is that it's a depopulation, bro. The parasite class that exists mostly in the West, but also in every country in the world, including Russia, it is a depopulation because who's dying here now is Russians from Russia and from Donbass, and also Russians from the eastern parts of Ukraine that are under the control of Ukraine. So, yes, you know what? There is no excuse for the fact that Avdiivka is still occupied and shelling Donetsk every day, that Makiivka is still occupied. It should have been the first targets of the
Okay.
special military operation. They should have burned everything between here and Dnieper from
Okay.
the beginning.
Okay. So the first
And so,
question. Yeah. Yeah. Please go on. Please.
so yes, I agree with
Okay.
him on that,
Okay.
and I say that either it was absolute incompetence or total treachery that it's not to this day, that they still bomb our city to this day from Avdiivka and Mariinka.
Okay. Okay. I in my head when I read the question, I answered him
I mean,
right away.
from Avdiivka,
Okay. Yeah. I've
not Makiivka.
yes. Avdiivka. Yes. I understood.
Avdiivka, da.
Yeah. And when I read this question, I replied to him, "Forgive me, Vlad, but your second question contains a lot of assumptions." So I was thinking that
Hey,
it was
wait,
not.
wait, wait. And let me ask a question to Vlad, too, who I hope is listening.
He's not online,
I
at least
fought
on
on the
VK now.
Avdiivka
Yeah.
front
Okay.
in 2017. I was back there getting bombed in 2019 on the less position right along the highway, 300 meters from Ukraine positions. And so I ask, and I'll tell you, Vlad, I am a real communist. I'm a real communist. That means I put my life on the line. I'm willing to fight for socialism and a better world for everybody in it. So, Vlad, tell me, what battalion did you serve in? What years did you serve in? hero.
Okay. If he's not online, I will talk to. He's not online on VK at least is at the moment. I don't know if he's watching or not. And so his first question was: Is Ukraine an artificially made conflict, a bridge from COVID to something else, where all sides are controlled by the central banks? So this is the other. You know what is
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see where this dude is going. I'll say this: Ukraine is an artificial state. It is a part of Russia. It's been a part of Russia for 1,000 years.
But he's implying
It is-
Russia is too.
Oh yeah, Russia is an artificial state. The biggest geographical country in the whole world is just an artificial state.
You mean
This guy?
like controls both entities controlled by central banks, big bankers, and so the war is like a controlled experiment where the strength used by both sides is measured by someone bigger, someone above, and so that's why the war is going like this. This is what I
And
understand.
you know what?
Okay.
You know what? I think that's a real possibility.
Okay.
I do think that's a real possibility, because I mean, this war is not a military war, it's not an economic war. It is a spiritual war.
Mhm.
And so when you understand it from that perspective, yes. I mean, there's I have a photograph. It was like the background of my VK page for quite a while. It shows a chessboard, with all the
pawns.
pieces covered in blood
Yeah.
laying on the board, and then the black king and the black queen and the white king and white king sitting down to dinner drinking wine.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, this is a spiritual war.
Mhm.
We fight for the future of humanity. Our job is not to save the world. That's God's job. Our job is to save our own souls by trying to save the world as best as we can. Because that's the only way when we stand before God on Judgment Day that we can say, hey, we did our best for everybody. And so, yes, from the perspective and let's go on to the next question. But yes, I agree with Vlad on that. It's quite.
No,
I don't say that that's the fact, but I say that it's quite possible.
he sent these questions to me previously before the live stream. We are reaching
I understand.
we are reaching the 2-hour mark, and and so I think I'm gonna we're gonna call it today.
You should cut it up into like 4 sections.
Yeah, I will edit it. I don't like to edit live videos though, but I will do it. Because I don't want I don't want ever to be accused of, oh, you've cut this bit, or you've chosen that bit, or you're.
I trust you. And if I trust you, no one else can accuse you because.
Okay. Yeah. You know what you said, so yeah, you're.
Yeah.
Yes, but I will do that. But Russell, don't disconnect our call right away. I will stop the live stream now, and we'll thank people that have been watching, people that will watch in the future. I hope to promote this video in as many platforms as I can. As I'm a small channel, I imagine that's why I never been censored in any way. And so I don't know if it's sometimes I'm afraid to grow the channel and then suddenly be visible, and then all the troubles start. Then I've been having a very peaceful life with a small channel. Anyway, thanks a lot, and stay strong, stay connected, follow this channel. Help it grow, not too much, just enough.
Don't forget to share check out Tejas Bentley on Telegram and VContact.
I will share the links of Russell's platforms on the description of this video. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, so